we are having a look. We're focusing our attention on, yes, the Club World Cup. Now, the draw for the Club World Cup, the much talked about Club World Cup, takes place at 6 o'clock tonight. Manchester City in pot 1, Chelsea in pot 2. That is the English involvement. That's as far as it goes. But Simon, here's the deal. We were talking yesterday about FIFA getting very close to this Club World Cup. They cannot wait to launch upon us all. And we were thinking, but they still don't have a broadcaster. Now they do. DAZN. Step up DAZN. They are the broadcaster. All 63 matches will be free to view on DAZN's streaming platform.
It's not free to view. You have to pay a subscription to DAZN.
It's free to air.
Yeah, but you have to have a subscription with DAZN.
But that's not what they've said. It's free to air, and DAZN have paid $1 billion to FIFA.
So if you're not a DAZN subscriber, you can watch it.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. So this is what we're asking. How has this come about?
I'm just a bit curious how if you.
Well, I'll tell you how it might have come about. A DAZN insider has said that the FIFA agreement is funded by the platform, doesn't depend on any future agreements with any other parties, but maybe step forward the Saudis. Because the Saudis are already paying DAZN to screen Saudi Pro League football and tennis to a global audience, free to view. Step up the Saudis, and they're maybe doing the same with the Club World Cup.
Maybe. But yesterday the question was, how embarrassing they haven't got a broadcaster. I said they would have a broadcaster, and the next day they do have a broadcaster.
Yeah.
And this laughable idea...
They've got a streaming service.
And right, so we've got linear broadcasting that's got no numbers whatsoever, and you've got streaming services which are smashing the living daylights out of traditional broadcasting, and somehow we're going to diminish that. This is...
But you've hammered DAZN in the past. You've said they've been struggling.
No, I haven't. What I said was 2.5-3 years ago that the product quality that they had at the time wasn't very good. And at the time, it wasn't very good.
But so when we talk boxing, you always say the gold standard is Sky.
I said that in this country, the blue chip broadcaster has been Sky. Yeah. Now, what you've now got is you've now got Frank Warren and Eddie Hearn with DAZN. You've got DAZN and the money behind it from Blavatnik has been significant. In the same way that Facebook didn't make any money for years, and Mark Zuckerberg is now worth billions and billions and billions. Netflix didn't make any money for years. So the idea that because DAZN isn't making any money right now doesn't mean that it's not gaining and garnering huge subscriber bases. It's evidently obvious that at some point there's a distinct possibility that the Saudis will buy it as a broadcasting platform. For whatever reason, and we know why the Saudis are invested in sport for a variety of reasons, to enhance their society, to gain influence and to create opportunities.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, the conversation yesterday was, isn't it terrible they haven't got a broadcaster? They'll have a broadcaster. They've now got a broadcaster. Oh, isn't it terrible they've now got a broadcaster, which is a streaming service? You look at Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan's got 200 million people listening to him, and we're going to compare it to traditional broadcasting and get sniffy about it.
But what interests me is that DAZN reportedly made a £1 billion loss.
I just covered that.
According to its last set of accounts for 2022.
Yeah, and
that, well, step up DAZN, yes, but it's not the broadcast deal that many thought that FIFA might have acquired for a competition such as this.
It's better.
Oh, it's better, is it?
Well, streaming services and people turn their nose up at the digital space. YouTubers, digital space, they are destroying traditional broadcasting.
So is this the direction the Premier League's going to go in?
Yes, it probably is. Yeah. And that's why I've been speaking about the Netflix of football, which, by the way, would be a streaming service. Over-the-top broadcasting will kill traditional broadcasting. It is done. ITV, Skies of the world, toast. They are going to be done by streaming.
Nicky, when I look back at 99-2000, Manchester United withdrew from the FA Cup to go and play in the first FIFA World Club Championships in Brazil. That was in the January. What did you think around that time? Did you think, what the heck's going on?
No, it was a new thing, wasn't it, back then? And we all got sat down, actually, because we didn't know what was going on. We got sat down and basically told that we are going to the Club World Championship. We're not pulling out of the FA Cup. We're going to put a reserve team in and try and stay in the competition for when we get back. I think it was forced upon us a little bit, or forced upon the club, should I say, because I think at the time we was trying to get the bid for the World Cup, and we needed to be pushed to the biggest audience, if you like. Anyway, we went there, and we had a disaster. We got beaten the first game, got battered, and I think the rules back then were we were pretty much out of the competition after the first game. And then we got another sit down talking to him and make sure you go and win the league when you get back or you're all sold. So we had a nice little 10-day break in Rio.
I can imagine who said that to you.
So Alex,
Yeah. I mean, you didn't make it out of the group. Vasco da Gama, Necaxa, who were they, Mexican?
Yeah.
And South Melbourne.
Yeah.
And you finished third in it.
Yeah.
If I remember rightly, the opening game, as you say, you get tortured, did you not?
We got
Gary Neville get tortured.
Yeah, it was a really, without making excuses, it was a really tough environment to go in. It was like 92% humidity. We played against Vasco da Gama on their own pitch. With their own climate that they're used to. We got annihilated. But they had some amazing. They had Romario, Edmundo, and they battered us. And it was just, it ended up being a really, really bad tournament for us. The manager knew after the first game we weren't going to go and win it because we couldn't. So he just basically used it as a rest and recovery. And the funny thing is, when we got back to England and back into the Premier League games, we was not a single point worse off after 3 games. It was weird, yeah. None of our rivals never won any games or any game always away, so we still come back with the same points, no difference. Right.
I mean, when you were playing in the thing and the build up to it, was the general consensus amongst the players this is worth winning?
It was a bit weird because it was such an early competition. We didn't understand it, and the same with we played in one in Tokyo as well, and we won it, and we didn't really celebrate. It was a bit like, it's nothing really. But when you look back at it, to win the world club champion, it's massive. But we didn't understand the competition back then. I just hope these teams that are the lads that are playing it this year will understand it is a big thing to go and compete in and try and win it.
Well, it's changed a lot since your day.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a month-long tournament, 32 teams.
Yeah.
City are in it, Chelsea are in it, and you would say those boys, they should go all out to win the thing because it is seriously prestigious.
It is, yeah. But the scary thing about it for me is, how does it lead the rest of football? Is it going to become so big that it overtakes what is now the Premier League, the Champions League?
Yeah.
For me, that's the big one, Premier League, Champions League. That's not. It is going to get bigger. And I'm touching on what Simon said about the streaming thing. That's going to get bigger. All the games are going to go on streaming. But I think things like this could damage football in the long run, only because I think they could take over the Super League case. That's basically what they're doing. They're doing a Super League. And is that going to be the norm? Is that what's going to happen? And that's a frightening thing for me as a football fan in this country, is will that overtake what is traditionally the 4 tiers of football at the minute?
Would that bother you if you were a present-day player? I'm getting forced into this. I don't really want to do it.
No, because when you're a player, you're selfish. We're all selfish when you play. You just want to play. You want to play in the biggest games. You want to play with the biggest fans. You want to make all the money. You want to look after your family. You don't think outside the box. And when you retire and you get a bit older, you understand that. There is lower tiers. There is different, clubs that are very historical that could lose them.
Yeah. So you told us this was always going to happen then. And they would get a broadcaster.
I did.
And step up the zone streaming service. We should all back the streaming service.
I think whether you back it or not, it's an economic reality.
Yeah.
Linear broadcasting is a thing of the past.
That was a roundup of one of the top football stories in the business world with Tesco Mobile for Business.
Simon Jordan's Football Business Roundup on talkSPORT with Tesco Mobile for Business. Join Tesco Mobile and get business phone bills for up to 40% less than the big mobile networks. Tesco Mobile. Every little helps. For applicable terms and verification, see tescomobile.com/business.
Nicky Butt, I have to say, the messages are streaming in. This is probably the wrong time to be saying goodbye to you, but you got to get back up to the Northwest. Give me a prediction. Where are United going to finish this season? In season 1 for Amarim. I mean, he wasn't there at the start, but he's there now.
I don't think they'll finish in the top 5. I think they'll be outside that. But for me, the bigger picture isn't where they finish this year. It really isn't for me. It's about getting his philosophy into the squad, getting his targets of who to bring in, who's allowed to bring in, and most importantly, getting the players out that just aren't doing a job for Man United. So let him get his stall set up. Let's start judging him next season when he's got a few players of his own. This season, for me, try and get a good run in the FA Cup, which will be difficult as well with the Arsenal thing. Yeah, let him get to the end of this season and start next season with a few of his own players and get rid of ones that he doesn't want.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.